This is a Moron Rants podcast with Mark Lamont and Andrew Dees, episode number 1, released Friday 30th of April 2021.
Right, so this is the very first episode of our Moron Rants podcast. It's up to your determination to see if it's morons ranting about things or if it's us two normal people ranting about morons. I'm Mark, and joining me is Andrew Dees, called
Hello.
Dees generally. Where we attempted a podcast back in 2011, 2012, and we eventually just stopped. It never went anywhere. We did have about 14 people on one of the specials, but we thought since the Teams has become a thing now and everybody can do things remotely, that would give us another punt in 2021 and see how we go.
Sounds good, Chief.
All right, so anybody that knows at least me, who can I do a lot of do a lot of moaning about things. So that's going to be the sort of genre of the podcast. There'll be me moaning about things irately, and Dee's trying to put a sensible, logical, normal spin on things, or to calm me down from my extremist views.
That's what I used to do in the past, but they might just let you go now. You can rant on.
Yes, well, I mean, where do we start? I mean, as we're recording this, we are on day 2 of COVID-19 restrictions lifting in Scotland, or starting to lift. The stay-in-place, stay-at-home order was lifted, and we're all back into the tier system, as far as I know. And I'm putting this out my arse, to be honest, because I don't have done any research before this, but I think everywhere's generally went back into tier 3. Would that be right?
So anybody can these days. Seems to be changes all the time.
Well, very true. But I know the shops have opened back up again, because that's all you see on Facebook. At the first day, Monday morning, folk are queuing up outside Primark at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, is it really worth it for a £3 pair of jammies? Is it?
Well, no, I wouldn't say Primark. You can go and get a haircut now, but I'll be kind of that's if you're needing that anymore.
No. Ever since I met you, I've been losing my hair, so a haircut's not required, if I'm honest. But so we're saying, or what am I saying? That the restrictions have lifted, and it's I suppose it's a good sign. We're seeing light at the end of the tunnel for things getting back to normality. But I suppose we should just take a wee bit of time to discuss the last year of lockdown, or what feels like a year of lockdown anyway.
It's been a year and a month now, 13 months ago this kicked off with the very first lockdown.
We did have obviously some easing the restrictions in between, where we first told people not to go outside, and then we told them you should go to restaurants because it's 50% off. So we went for don't go in a crowded place to hurry up and get in a crowded place, and it's half price if you want a burger. Which didn't seem to make a lot of sense, but that's one of the moronic decisions and things that is perfectly suited for discussing on this podcast.
So what's really up to you about COVID then, Mark?
It's the idiots. I mean, there's always idiots everywhere. I can see you pointing at me right now.
Never lifted a finger at all there.
I could see it in my mind. But not just the general morons, absolute morons everywhere. You were told to stay at home unless utterly essential, and you've got folk going out travelling 30 miles to walk their dog in a nice area. Oh, but I drove here. Oh, you drove here. You drove 30 miles. That's no essential. It's just, it's a bit infuriating, especially when you're seeing like the frontline NHS people and all that having to go to their work, coming home in tears and everything for what they've seen and what they've had to deal with. But we Morag round the corners driven 30 miles because you wanted to go for a walk with a dog that's fucking 2 feet tall. And you get,
The dog might have wanted to visit the beach that day, Ken.
About 30-mile drives and everything. Christ. Look at all the politicians that got caught out because they were telling us all what to do, and then they were driving to their second holiday homes or wherever. Christ, one of them went down to London on the train, and then after she'd gotten a positive result, she'd got on the train back home. I mean, you can't get any more stupid than that, surely.
No, I think that was pushing the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries.
Being a moron there, I think that one.
If you can't get any worse than that. I mean, I didn't get it. Is she still in the job? Do you ken? I don't know.
Aye. She refused to resign for being an MP.
See, there's a prime thing where I just make things up and ask questions, and he's just intelligent and knows the facts. But
Margaret Ferrier, the COVID spreader. Because I think one of the Glasgow Gritters was, or one of the names for the Glasgow Gritters was put forward as that. They can have ever got past.
Again, though, but there's an example of somebody that'll be on what 70, 80 grand a year job, at least.
Plus expenses.
Plus the other expenses.
I'd imagine the train journey that she travelled on with COVID was probably on her expenses.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure that ticket didn't come out her pocket. That'd been a taxpayer train and all. But so how stupid can we be, and how lax are the sort of rules and regulations that she's allowed to just stay in place? I mean, that in itself surely is moronic.
Can't sack an MP, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, the Scottish elections are coming up. When's the next general election?
2024.
Oh, Jesus. So she's secure till 2024.
Aye. I think she's getting near. I think by the time 2024 comes, she'll be about retirement age, so she'll just be seeing out as you would on 70, 80 grand, whatever she's on. For the wages now for an MP.
I don't know. I think if the folk for Glasgow got a hold of her, she wouldn't be retiring. She'd be getting hung.
At least she's, I think, as far as I'm aware, still trying to do some of her job. Unlike what do you call him that was messaging 16-year-olds? Derek Mackay, the finance minister at Holyrood.
There are a lot of them. I mean, I've said that before and I'll say it again. I would sack a lot of them and just leave me in charge. I think I could do
it would be a very different world. I'll give you that.
It would. I would be very simple. All these folk that are flouting the rules, it's not £100 fine or £1,000 fine. Just cut their paws off. Death penalty, aye. Well, you mean you could start with cutting their paws off. If that's not enough of a warning to get you to kind of wake up and listen to what you've been told to do, then just death penalty them. Do the lot. There's a 0% reoffender rate.
I'm not sure though. That might in 2020 that might come under sexism laws that you're only going to chat paws off. You'd maybe you wait to think of a female version for
that. I suppose a Me Too movement might start up there. I don't know. What would you? You couldn't cut a fanny off. That'd be nice. Just cut one boob off. I don't know.
Well, I do think you should be in charge, to be honest.
Maybe no. But you come on, I mean, the punishment is it's just not enough for these morons. I'm not talking about kind of a minor thing. It's the folk that have been really, really stupid about it. The morons that are, oh no, I didn't wear a mask. Why do you know? And I get that in all fairness that there are people that are exempt. That's fair enough. But you get morons that are just, oh aye, I can't wear a mask. How can you not wear a mask? I've now got asthma. What do you mean you've got asthma? You've had no asthma for the last 30 years of your life, and you suddenly got asthma now because you didn't want to wear a mask. Just fucking wear a mask like a normal person. Like, it's no any hassle. And if you go to a shop for 2 minutes, it's 120 seconds of your life, and then you go back outside and you're fine. I didn't get it.
I have noticed I've been a bit sort of breathless at times recently, but I think that's maybe more due to the fact that I've been sat in the house for a whole year and not done any exercise. It's been a bit of a lazy bastard.
Yeah, but even so, if you were going out, you would put a mask on if you're going into a shop or you're going into meat. Can you just do what you need to do? Nobody wants to do it. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, but you just have to get on with it because that's how we're going to get out of this. If you've got an exemption, a real exemption, then fair enough, by all means. But
it will be that moment that when these sort of restrictions get lifted and you're no longer needing to wear a mask and we're all starting to leave the house and you'll be away wandering down the shops and oh shit, forgot my mask.
Aye, well, most likely.
First thing I usually check these days when I'm going out, even before if I've got money, see if I've got a mask.
Well, that's it. We're a year into it now, and most people have just gotten used to it because why would you know? But it's just as you mentioned that once all the restrictions lifted on masks and stuff, that's when all these people that have magically had asthma for the last year, suddenly the reoccurrence of it will disappear and they're fine.
Have you heard about the the guy got arrested at Walt Disney World recently?
No, I haven't heard a guy at Walt Disney. Tell me the story.
Well, he had basically, he was in one of the parks, and I think the parks over there now are already, you get temperature checks when you go in, just to make sure that you're within the correct range, you've not got a fever or that.
Seems reasonable so far.
I think now it's happened, but he somehow managed to sneak past the tent, but they were aware. So eventually, security had caught up with him and told him, obviously, basically said to him, you need to go and get a temperature check, and he basically refused. And then, sort of led towards his arrest at Walt Disney World because he refused to go and get a temperature check. Which that seems very moronic. All he had to do was go and get a temperature check and he would have been fine. But he decided to, obviously Disney holidays are expensive. He decided to rant that I've paid $15,000 to get here. Why should I need to do that? Well,
I mean, I could understand if it was invasive, as if they were getting a temperature probe and ramming it up his arsehole. I mean, I could see an objection to that.
Well,
but I'm pretty sure.
I've not checked. I'm assuming it was the wee temperature gun thing on the forehead. And for all that, maybe it was a rectal thermometer, but I doubt it.
I would doubt it. I mean, they're pretty sophisticated, especially in America. And I'm sure Disney, there's no lack of expense that the people doing it would have had the laser gun things that take it for your head, or even the worst case, they put a wee thing in your ear. I can't think they were putting anything up his arse. So I really didn't see the logic of dying on that hill of, well, I'm not going to get like a temperature check. I get obvious against in America now the privacy thing where, oh no, you can't track me and all this. And it seems to have gone too far. Get your temperature checked and you'll be fine and you can carry on with your holiday.
What I did like about the story was that he'd kind of towards the end of it, after his rant, he realised that he wasn't going to win this argument with I think it was the police officer that was involved with this time. He did then sort of ask, right, can I go and get my temperature check? And they were basically like, you're too late. No, it's done. And says, well, I get my temperature checked. And the boy just went, you get that done at the jail. Like, oh, bro, cheers.
That ship has already sailed. But just so in the end, he didn't accomplish anything. He still had his temperature checked. He just lost his holiday and spent a couple of nights in jail.
And he's got a good story now. Can you imagine that? The kids going back to scale. How was your trip to Walt Disney? Well, Dad got arrested at the Magic Kingdom.
That has to be definitely the definition of a fucking moron. An absolute walloper. I don't know. But I mean, you see it all. So one of the we peek behind the curtains when we're preparing to record these podcasts.
You shouldn't be peeking behind any curtains.
we look for all of the links, the news articles and stuff, and we put them in a OneDrive type thing. And a couple of the ones a couple of things I've seen on Facebook are today. So they're going to trial a non-socially distanced concert gig type thing, and I think it's Liverpool, round about in the next couple of months or so.
I think it'll be next month, won't it? Be May.
And it's one of these things that come up on Facebook. It's usually garbage news, but you get linked to it, clickbait for like the Mirror or I can't even mind, BuzzFeed, all that.
Daily Mail.
Aye, that shite that just it's usually some attention-seeking person that's posted a picture of whatever to get on the news when it really wasn't a story. But so this was one of the stories about this trial gig, and it's a good idea. I mean, they're going to test folk when they go in, they're going to test them when they come out, but ultimately it's going to be as close to a normal situation. Obviously, a lot less people because it's a trial, but they'll get like a normal experience that you would get before all this shit went down. So far, I'm not really seeing the issue with that. That sounds like a good idea. It is a trial, so if it goes to hell, obviously they'll cancel it, but they're going to give it a try.
Have to trial these things eventually and try and get moving forward. So hopefully it's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. Now, and I'm all for negativity as well. You can, I'm Mr. like half glass, well, not even half full. It's smashed and been put in the fucking bucket. But just some of the responses you see, the Facebook comments on it, like, well, but what if somebody in your family is extremely vulnerable and you go to this trial and bring it back? And I'm just thinking to myself,
well, they need to go.
yeah, surely if you're in that particular situation, you would take a wee bit of self-responsibility and maybe not consider yourself to be part of that trial. Is that just me that thinks that's outrageous, or just a wee bit self-control maybe?
Well, it's each to their own at the end of the day. Well, that's the biggest thing through COVID's. It's not the rules. It's so much that you've got the ability yourself to, keep yourself safe more than anything else.
But that seems to be the thing, though, that they're looking for the world to sort of not revolve around them, but the world to owe them a favour. Just take a wee bit of self-reflection and just think about things. And that's my biggest moan for the whole bloody thing, is that everybody's about, when can I get back to normality? And I'm in the same boat. I would say that we all want to get back to normality, but you've got the self-awareness of it's not the right time. If I was in a situation where I was living with somebody that was vulnerable, or just I was in that position, then I would tailor what the things I was doing a wee bit differently. I wouldn't put myself forward to a trial concert thing that could potentially risk them. And I don't think that's the idea of the trial anyway, is to bring all these people with high risk people and their families there. I think it's purely
Start on the advertisement. Do you have a vulnerable person living in your home? Free tickets to this gig.
exactly. But and it's just, you see the hundreds and hundreds of comments underneath it. Sort of gives me a wee bit of confidence in people, because they are being called out for the fact that just take a wee bit of fucking thought. But obviously, there's these keyboard warriors that just want to.
I think it's part of the thing that everybody feels that everything affects them, and like if you're not interested in going to say a gig, whatever type of gig it is, say it's heavy metal. If you're not into heavy metal music, if it's not going to interest you, you're not going to be going. If it's in Liverpool, I think it's probably only going to be Liverpool lanes that are going. So,
Aye, but they've got to have the comment. They've got to have the, but I feel left out. There should be a trial in my tune or whatever. It's just, I don't know. This is self entitlement, and it gets right on my tits, if I'm honest with you. It just really, really bugs me.
Yeah, we've got a few trials going on. The snooker at the minute, it's got crowds at it, so hopefully that's a step in the right direction. Got so many thousand supporters got into the English League Cup final. Got the Euros coming up. That's been passed for crowds as well, with 12,000 getting into Hampden. So they're slow steps, but it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, absolutely. They need to take their time. I mean, 12,000 people's not a small amount of people. I get that it's less than a regular amount, but I mean, when they start doing that, how many people are you going to get just moaning sheer stupidity because they're no part of the 12,000 people?
Oh, well, there's always going to be people disappointed, I suppose.
But exactly, the comment would be, well, there should have been 12,001. There's always somebody to be just slightly cut off. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm complaining about all this, but if it was something I was actually interested in.
I don't care about them, I care about me. I want it.
Exactly. I mean, if there was a trial for opening a Greg's per se, I mean, I would be all over that. I would be in the start of the queue. I would steamroller our next door neighbour to get a Greg's. I'm no fussy.
To be fair, I'm thinking about giving Greg's a warning, because I reckon you've probably been into Greg's where they've been shut and been chipping away at their stock.
Well, there's no point in going off, you can. I mean, I was gutted. I mean, at the time, during the pandemic, I worked in St Andrews, and they had the Greg's got all renovated, it got all done up, in brand new seating area, and then it got shut. Inside. And then even when it did open, you're right, you can't sit in anywhere. Although I think that might have changed from around about this week. I don't know.
They'd be able to sit inside, no, socially distanced, of course.
Aye, and it's a tiny wee shop, so it's like two people could sit, probably. Dear. Right, I'll agree. Actually, this is not a moan. This is a good bit of news. So I got an email from Brewers Fayre to say that they're reopened, obviously, and that I should book a table. So I thought, well, I've got holidays starting on Sunday. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I've booked a table, 5:30 on Sunday. my only moan will be, I hope they've got plenty of stakes in, because I've not been there in probably about a year. So
yeah, I think maybe your stakes are socially distanced as well. They're waiting to go out, nip out, get the queue, start cutting it up. You get your steak for about 9:30 at night.
Oh well, I have had that issue with them before in there, to be fair, but it's always quality stuff. So I might just order 2 when I first go in, and then if they bring 1 out, and then they can socially distance the second one once I've ate the first one, I can go to the second one.
Yeah, you do like a wee steak.
I like a big steak, I have to admit. A brewer's fair steak's usually pretty decent.
Other steak providers are available.
Oh well, absolutely. I mean, and we should say there are no sponsors anywhere. That there's nobody paid us to say any of this. That being said, if they want to throw in a couple of steaks, by all means, go for it. Oh dear, but that. I think that kind of wraps us up on the whole COVID piece. We obviously had to mention it. It's been the biggest thing that's been in the news. In fact, to be honest, if you listen or watch BBC News, what they're going to report on when all this is done is I don't know, because it's every day. It's all the headlines. So
I kind of stopped even looking at the news. It's just.
Oh, I'm the same.
What's happened today? COVID.
Well, that's it. And that's what I mean. So once all that's over, what they're going to report on, I'll never know. Well, I suppose I will know, because we'll find out. But I don't know what they're going to think on. So it has been a big topic, and we couldn't just glaze over it, sort of thing. But there's been a lot of morons in the last year that just I can't even pinpoint a particular one. It's just every day that somebody does something stupid, it makes you think, all the people that have died through COVID and you've survived. Really?
It's maybe a tad harsh, that, but
Well, I mean, there's decent people. There's got to be decent people, normal people in the NHS that didn't deserve to die. And there's these wallopers walking about buying 1,400 toilet rolls when they've probably still got a fucking warehouse full of them, and they're running about fine, no mask, no nothing, but it's all good. And that's the imbalance, and proves life's no fair, unfortunately, but it's where we're at. And that, if I was in charge, it's where we would fix things, but we'd be death penalty in these people.
Eaten by caterpillar.
Oh, that's a story coming up. I'll talk about the caterpillars in a bit, but I believe you have a story about not just any leagues, a European Super League.
This was quite interesting news the other week.
Well, that's.
I know you're really into football, so if you want, I'll let you take the lead on this.
I couldn't tell you the difference between a football and a rugby, if I'm honest with you. They all run about with shorts, kicking a ball or chasing a ball. No clue. You better fill us in.
So basically, on the other week there on the Sunday, so many teams got there: 6 in England, 3 in Italy, and 3 in Spain, and they announced that they were going to start up this European Super League between themselves. They'll go. Hopefully, they were hoping to invite another couple of clubs into it at that point in time. So this got rumours there on the Sunday during the afternoon, and it officially got announced Sunday night. We're going ahead with this. This is what we're doing. Still hoping to play in our own league, and we'll play this European Super League during the week. Now, that would rival UEFA's competition, so I do get why they seem to really underestimate the backlash they were getting this. So they underestimate the fact that UEFA were obviously clearly not happy that 12 of their, and in fairness, the most of them are all the top teams that are usually there and thereabouts in Europe. We're going to just pull out and go to this European Super League, which by the way is going to be financed by an American bank, JP Morgan, for billions of pounds. So obviously there's a good financial gain for the clubs that were going to be involved in this that wouldn't they have obviously filtered down through other leagues or that, or other clubs in the leagues that they're in. So this is a Sunday night. Of course, people kind of sleep on this news, and then Monday comes. The European Super League teams actually started legal proceedings on trying to block any potential litigation that they might have back onto them for UEFA and FIFA regarding this. But UEFA just went, right, well, if you're doing that, we're going to look at banning you for all your competitions. We're going to stop your players being able to play for their national team. There's a hell of amount of bans that were coming their way. A few of the guys that were Ed Woodburn was at Man United, and the other guy whose name escapes, and I think was at Juventus, or one of the Italian clubs. They resigned for their roles that they had in the European Clubs Association. So Monday develops, and it just gets absolutely battered for every direction possible. As I say, UEFA, FIFA, the English Premier League, the Italian League, the Spanish League, all condemn it. Basically, about every other league in Europe condemns it. Fans get together and condemn it. The TV companies get out and condemn it. All former professionals and former managers come out and condemn this move. So the poor Liverpool manager, Liverpool are playing on a Monday night. Obviously, he's got a game to prepare for, and this decision's had nothing to do with him. Obviously, he has to stand there and field questions. After their game, I think it was after the game, one of their players, James Milner, was interviewed, basically saying, obviously, he's playing for Liverpool, maybe going to Super League. Went, no, they want nothing to do with this. And then the Tuesday comes about. So you're not even 48 hours, I think, at the time, and then there was fan protests outside grounds, basically saying you're killing our clubs, killing football, and it came to an end on the Tuesday. The 6 English clubs eventually, one by one, all pulled out of this European Super League. I think there's only a couple that are left. The guy for Real Madrid still, he seems, it's no dead no water yet, but it's pretty much done and dusted now. But it was just this sort of seemed to be a power grab between the owners of all these clubs wanting to try and get. As I say, there's got to be a lot of money was got to be involved in this, and some of the teams, with respect to, like, say, Arsenal and Spurs, who didn't even look like they're going to get in the Champions League. I think Arsenal's sitting 10th in their league in England. So for 6 English clubs to go into European Super League and they're not even in the top 9 in England, I mean, it seems a bit harsh for them to suggest that they should be going anywhere.
So how were they picked if it wasn't the top ones? How that doesn't make any sense.
They based it on the fact that they're deemed the big 6 in England because over the course of the last 30 years or so, they have been the predominant clubs. Spurs have won fuck all in ages. It seemed to sneak in. It was a case of clubs, I think, they're big clubs now, and they've kind of been in, obviously, football with money's kind of boomed over the last 30 years, and they've tried to take a grasp of it and went, well, we can get involved in this, we can get all the money coming our way. Obviously, your European football is based on the right that you play during the season, you do well, that's you get into Europe, and that's a reward, where they were just going to be playing this every year, no relegation, no nothing, that was going to be them. We're saying we're a big club, we should be in this big league. That's it.
Near rhyme or reason, just I'm basically, let's grab all the money we can out of this to some American walloper who's willing to pay us.
Well, a lot of it comes with, a lot of the American sports are kind of done on like franchise basis. There's no, can you look at they've got their teams that are in the league, and that's really about it. There's no like relegation or promotion or that. They've got their sports teams and they compete every year. There are franchises there, but there's a lot of I think is that 3 of the English clubs now, I think, are owned by or have a high percentage of American ownership now. So I think that's where it's kind of came in for the fact of it's this American idea. As I said, there's got to be billions on the table for it, and they were hoping to get in. But it's just that moronic thing of the fact that within the space of 48 hours, and they've came out and started apologising to the fans. We didn't realise this, which is another thing to say. Like, how can you not realise? Can you own these clubs? You should be more in touch with your fan base and kind of guess what the reaction was going to be instead of just going ahead with it, because we feel we're the big teams, we can do what we want.
Well, I can hee-haw about sports, as you well know, but even I understand the concept. If you do well, you go up, and if you're shite, you go down. That's just it's just how it works. And I don't know. I can't see the logic of, well, we'll pick these random teams because of the last 30 years, 20 years ago, they won something. And they've got a relative. I would imagine that they had a relatively big following, and that's maybe where it comes from.
Aye, that's kind of one of hopes. But obviously, there's the other side of this coin as well. Is like you have organisations like UEFA who have probably contributed to this through their time in their competitions, because obviously they've got a tournament called the Champions League. For basically, it's a tournament for the champions of the leagues. That's how it basically got its name when it started. And that's kind of how it was. It was every team that was a champion in the league. They went into it and played. Well, nowadays England gets 4 teams, Italy gets 4 teams, Spain gets 4 teams. Can you get to your group stage now? There's only really a handful of nations represented. So UEFA might obviously moaned about it, but they've played a part in the reasons for this kind of coming about, essentially.
I suppose another bit that I would challenge as well is that it's a European Super League funded by Americans. There's no any. Do we not see an issue there? No.
No, I think as I say, it was a very American style idea. It's no what the sort of European kind of idea of sport is. The fact that obviously the European competitions were set up and you can get. When they very first started ages ago, they were obviously invite only because they were obviously just starting them at the time. But it's all been based around. You used to have like the Cup Winners' Cup was a previous European tournament. Teams that won their cups in individual countries, they went on and played in this tournament. It was basically your reward for winning something or doing well, got you into Europe, and it was something else for your experience as well, playing clubs in another country. And that was the kind of thing I don't think they understood. And that was that it's special the new maybe when like Chelsea plays Real Madrid. If Chelsea's playing Real Madrid every year in the league in a kind of European Super League, that takes away the shine for when they maybe play each other in the Champions League semi-final once every so often. So
I'll be honest, I wouldn't watch any of it. It's not my street.
It was funny with the TV companies as well, sort of condemning it as well, because I think one of the things to this was that the broadcast rights would sit with the European Super League, and I think they were basically, I think the rough idea was that they would go down and sort of sell the rights themselves, so it'd be a case of whether it's through your phone or watching through the laptop or that, and you'd be able to sign up for your club's games and can sort of go through that way, so the TV companies wouldn't get rights to it as well. Probably the reason why they can.
Oh, that'd be why they backlashed against it.
Aye, there's maybe backlash more out of the sense of we're going to be losing some here potentially, other than what they feel.
The money's flowing, but no other direction. That seems a bit right.
That was quite a thing for this European Super Leagues. It's going to start as soon as possible to 48 hours later, dead in the water.
And I take it there were a couple of days on for that it's just, there's been no resurgence, that's it gone.
No, not really. The English clubs have well distanced themselves from it now. There's a couple of obviously they've lost their kind of jobs at this now, but that's what it is, isn't it?
Well, exactly. Again, in my world, wouldn't they be just losing jobs? There'd be death penalties gone. They'd be losing a hell lot more. They'd be losing the boss, and not just their fit boss.
Yeah, you're awfully set on cutting off boss this week. They can.
I'm in that kind of mood where some people just didn't deserve to have boss.
I was going to say, I thought that was losing your boss was only a marriage thing. Did you hate getting there at the engagement? Is that why you've?
Oh dear. Well, you get it. It was almost a year to a year and 2 days ago. Should have been married on that dot, and I've kept all my posters. So when we do eventually get married, who knows when, with COVID still going on, but it'll no matter. It'll be 25th of April. Whatever day we do it, because that's what all the posters and it's what all the printed materials all say. Oh dear. Anyway, so we'll move on for the failed football leagues. I think we can agree that was just a fucking moronic idea. I mean, I can hear all about it, but for what you're saying, 48 hours was enough time to kibosh the whole thing, then really should have thought a wee bit more about that before publicly announcing it, maybe.
Apparently they spent months of work on this, but obviously never actually asked anybody Can maybe ask the fans of the club, how would you feel about this? No. Just go ahead, do it, and then. I didn't realise there was this backlash.
Ah, dear. Well, I tell you who else is getting backlash, and it's M&S.
Have they done anything recently?
Well, I'm about to tell you. That is a smooth segue onto our next topic. So, you'll be familiar with a sort of chocolate caterpillar cake. Every shop's got one. Sainsbury's, Mr. Wiggles. I can't remember all the names for them, but Sainsbury's has got one. Morrison's has got one. M&S has got one. Asda's got one. It's a chocolate log, essentially, cake with a pair of eyes on the front and usually Smarties or Skittles or something on it. It's a caterpillar cake and everybody's got them. However, apparently, Aldi's one is too close to the M&S one and they're suing them to get the whole thing scrapped. And normally you think, oh, it's a lawsuit, this will be long, boring, dull, and it'll go through the courts. And that will be the case as well, I would imagine. But Aldi's taken to Twitter with some riot comments and postings. And the backlash for Twitter and for social media just seems to have hit M&S, and they just can't win. So they eventually did try and respond, but it did not go down well. So some of the things that they've put on, it's under hashtag free Cuthbert, which is Cuthbert the Caterpillar they've called theirs. And all their posts are on.
I was going to say, you try to be posh there. Cuthbert, surely.
I don't know.
Is that you and your it's not Lamont, it's Lamont.
Yes, well, you'll find that I have moved away from from my roots in Methil and Buckhaven, and I'm now in Kirkcaldy.
Where you're in Kirkcaldy now, I'm posh.
yes, we can move on to that. So some of the tweets, right? Marks and snitches more like with hashtag free Cuthbert, and then they've posted a courtroom drawing up, and I'll put it in the show notes for the podcast. And it's just a caterpillar cake, basically sitting on the dock with two security guards either. And it's
I did see that. I found that quite funny.
Oh, it's pretty good. What else did they post it? So in the end, they've tried to make a bit of peace. They've put Marks and Spencer's can Colin, who must be the M&S caterpillar, which we'll talk about the differences in a minute. And Cuthbert be Bestie or Cuthbert, whatever fucking why you want to thing with it. They're bringing back a limited edition cake and want to donate the profits to cancer charities. That seems a bit of a fucking get out of jail free clause. Oh, we'll throw in some buzzword charities and cancer and we'll get out of this. But anyway, including Macmillan Cancer and the Teenage Cancer Trust, whatever it is. It's a good idea, but seems a wee bit of a social media PR blitz if you ask me. But they want to raise money for charity, not lawyers. And M&S have responded. That's the only one they responded to, but they put, we love a charity idea. Colin's been a big fundraiser for years, apparently. Couldn't tell you. Never shopped at M&S. Might be for Cody, but I'm still not that posh. And it puts, we just want you to use your own character. How about Kevin the Carrot Cake? That idea's on us, and we promise we won't do Keith. And I really not sure. They've obviously seen Twitter get on the bandwagon and really get behind the Aldi pushing this, and they thought, we'll respond in kind, and people all respond quite well to that. That was not the case.
I could see they're sort of thinking there. I think, I can easily get into this. They had Kevin the Carrot. How about a Kevin the Carrot cake? But that kind of makes the point of, don't do a caterpillar cake, even though everybody else has got a caterpillar cake.
Well, that's what I didn't understand, right? Because they're claiming that this is M&S, that it's too similar.
Well, I'm going to say something there, and I have seen the two cakes, and in fairness to M&S, it does look like it's just bought an M&S cake and put it in a box. At least some of the other ones, I say, you've got caterpillar cakes, but they do all kind of have their own different thing to whatever it is.
Which is fair, right? All right, okay, but there's a second part to the lawsuit, right? So they're too similar, and that customers would confuse them. If they were in an Aldi, they would buy it thinking they were buying an M&S cake. No, here's where I take exception to. So I agree, the cakes do look similar, but they all look fairly similar to certain degrees. Whatever you want to say, the packaging might be slightly, whatever it is. They're essentially, it's the same core idea. But the bit that I take exception with is that somebody shopping in Aldi would confuse themselves to being in an M&S and purchasing an M&S product. No,
Are you trying to suggest that M&S and Aldi aren't similar?
No, I can't think of any two further extremes. I can't imagine an M&S shopper going into Aldi and being confused and buying the cake thinking they were purchasing an M&S product, and vice versa. Somebody going into Aldi and going, oh, here now, I've got a bargain. We're selling M&S products in Aldi. It just, I fail to believe that anybody is that stupid. Now, we talk about morons quite a bit, but I honestly fail to believe anybody is that moronic that they would mix up these products. I just can't see it.
So I say there is quite a similarity between the two cakes, but I do think that you would realise you were in Aldi.
Oh, surely when you walked in the door, when you drove into the car park, parked and went in to the shop, surely that was your awakening moment. The fact you've chosen to drive into Aldi, which most people would, to be fair, because you need to take out a mortgage to go to an M&S.
I take it you'll know I've tried the Waitrose caterpillar cake then.
God, no, I have not. Christ.
I noticed theirs is called Cecil.
Well, that's the thing, that they're solely picking out Aldi. There is no challenge on any of the other ones whatsoever. I'm not seeing it. And the funniest picture they posted out was a picture of the cake in its box, and at the front it's patents, copyrights, and trademarks for dummies.
The dummies books that you get. I did see that as well.
It's just quite good, and I just think Aldi's social media team, whoever's behind that, they deserve some bonuses for that, because they've done really well. They've got social media behind it, and ultimately, I can't see. I mean, the legal system is what it is, and they might well win the case. I can't see where they're trying to go here. Did M&S really feel that they were losing out on money to this? I'm not seeing the logic. I'm not buying it, if I'm honest with you. I'm calling bullshit.
Aye, it's but even in comparison to the last story we're talking about, I've seen a thing on social media that was listing like 6 caterpillars saying that they're joining the Rain Caterpillar Super League, and there'll be another 3 caterpillars announced to join in due course. It's I suppose it is what it is, because obviously M&S is looking out for their point of view. They want to guard their cake, but it seems it's a weird thing to be picking out when there is so many carrot cakes. Jesus, there's so many caterpillar cakes.
I could totally understand their defence if they were going after everybody that was infringing in their trademark or whatever it is. I understand that if they believed that they were the only people that should be able to sell a caterpillar cake, then they would go after everybody else. And I can understand the logic in that. I didn't understand the logic in singling out one.
I can't wait for the film to come out though. Colin versus Cuthbert. Or Cuthbert, as you would say.
Yes, Cuthbert, I think you'll find. There'll be somebody. The thing is, there will be somebody on the internet, the way that the internet is. Somebody will have made a promo trailer or something for that type of film. It's got to be out there on TikTok or whatever it might be. I guarantee that's out there. Ah, dear. Right.
Yeah.
I think we've talked that story to death. I think there isn't anything else I can really say other than what a moronic thing to do. They're definitely, the folk at Aldi need to reconsider or reevaluate their decision on that.
You mean M&S?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there you go. See, I did say it was morons talking about it. It's a late night. I've had a long day. I've had a long life, to be fair.
I do have a question though. Why is Sainsbury's caterpillar called Wiggles? They all seem to start with a C. Sainsbury's went with a different route. Wiggles a caterpillar.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they seen this lawsuit coming and thought every had a different name altogether. That would protect it.
There's, in fairness, the Sainsbury's one looks quite different from M&S. They wouldn't get any lawsuit for that.
At the end of the day, it's a cake. I really do see why this is high stakes. Pardon the pun. Just don't get it. I don't get it at all. But I don't know. What else have you got for me? Have you got any more morons? Anybody worse? Anybody worse than M&S? Surely no. That's got to be our moron of the week, no?
Could be. I did see a very interesting story. I reckon have you seen this in the news? I suppose in its way it's light-hearted fun in it, but there was some sort of this happened there in America. There was a group put together. Some guy called Josh started this, and he basically had this idea that he was going to have a battle to the death between all the Joshes to find out who the one true Josh was. So this obviously must have started at some point during lockdown. Taking what did he just probably start on Facebook one night and just kept adding random Joshes? Anyway, this grew arms and legs, about as many as a caterpillar has, and they all ended up meeting, and I think was it somewhere in Nebraska, and can they when obviously if you're at the pool, you get the sort of noodle things that you could like sit on and float about on.
Oh, aye.
They all had them and all basically had a battle in a park with all these Joshes to find out who the one true Josh was.
How did they have a fight to the death though with the polystyrene pool floats?
I do think they're as serious about the notion of death as you would be. Obviously, if you done it with a Mark version, you would be like swords. You would have a true
machine guns.
Yours wouldn't be as light-hearted as theirs. It would be like a version of Highlander to decapitate folk till there was only one left.
I'm sorry, but it's false advertising to me for these guys. If you put in your event a fight to the death, I'm expecting to see at least one of no severe death.
Well, I kind of started with a rock paper scissors tournament, which I didn't really see the point in that, and then them all battling using these things like lightsabers, and a lot of them were all dressed up. Spider-Man was there and stuff like that.
I've not seen him since that Fathers for Justice tour.
Well, I suppose Batman, there's every chance Batman was there as well. But it did have a good end to the story. The one true Josh ended up being a 4-year-old, wasn't it? I do kind of wonder. I think if it was a battle to the death, I do think the 4-year-old, I think he would have been one of the first to go, to be honest. But he is the one true Josh, apparently.
See, this reminds me. I remember when I was in uni, and there was a Facebook group for all the Marks to join, and I joined it because I was like, well, it's Marks. Like, I'm a Mark. I'll go and see what the story is. And it turned out in the end, it was just some big campaign to raise funds for some guy that was charged in like Botswana or something for murder. And they're trying to raise funds to free this guy from prison. They're like, it was a massive disaster, and just unfollow, unfriend, I'm no interested. It was basically a campaign for this guy. And
given your track record, though, I think it's probably good for you to stay part of something like that, because there's a high possibility you'll end up in the jail at some point.
Well, there's every chance.
You might
need bail. Well, in my experience for the last years, I think if I end up in jail, I think you'll be there with me, so I think we'll be all right.
I'd take what you're on about.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure you do. But well, I mean, they seem to have enjoyed themselves. It just, I suppose it's a quite interesting event. Let's get everybody with the same name together, and we'll smack each other with pool floats. Did they have any Nerf guns, things like that? That'd have been quite good, I suppose.
All I seen of it was a grueling rock, paper, scissors battle. That's what was determined as a grueling battle. I reckon if rock, paper, scissors becomes grueling, unless you're actually whacking them with rocks.
Now that would have been interesting.
Yeah, aye.
Could explode with.
Aye. I suppose I got them out the house that day.
Well, I suppose.
Well, we would have had to wait until all the restrictions. Have you done that in Scotland? Because I think they had folk coming from different states into this. We'd only just be able to do that now.
Well, no, really, because it's 3 different households outside, so you'd only have 3 households, 3 Joshes there. That would be very good.
You would have to have like second sort of battle can predetermined groups. So you'd win your own wee group of 3, and then 8 to win your wee battle and progress to the next round.
Unless it was a Super League tournament, in which case they would just pick 3
the richest Joshes would just.
Which Josh has got the most money?
Who the one true Josh was.
Oh God! Well, it usually does come down to money, to be fair, in general.
Oh, I've got a question to ask you, and I think this is I thought I could be segue here into our next wee topic. And this is obviously you being your political stance. Who is the one true independence party, Mark?
Well, I was actually going to skip over the story and go to a more light-hearted one. But we'll on that, I suppose. The SNP, to me, is the one true independence party. Do you know, from my political standings, I've always been for independence, and yourself, you're not, which is fair enough. We agree to disagree on that. However, so one of the stories that I have put in the notes is that Alex Salmond has obviously started his own Alba party. Am I pronouncing that right? You want to pick me up on that?
Yeah, that's Alba. But I don't know if you've seen the picture of them trying to get the letters together in the wrong way around. So it could be the Abla party.
But he's brought this party together right now. Democracy. If he wants to start a party, by all means, crack on. I was always fairly thing with saying the man was a walloper. And this is no after all the trials started and whatever. This was right back, even before the first independence referendum. I was always an SNP voter. However, the guy just boiled my fucking head. Couldn't stand him. But each to their own. He wants to start his own party. Crack on, pal. But he's come out with just spouting some amount of gash. He claims that now his party in Scotland is the only serious party promoting or going for independence. Now, I can't grasp in my head where he's getting this from. The man just talks utter bollocks. Now, the independence referendum obviously went to no, and we never got independence. That's fair enough. The SNP obviously still stand for independence. They're still pushing for it. That's the nature of the party, and they will always be that way. And for him to claim that they're no, I don't get it. I don't get how much SNP supporters he plans to move across to his party. Anybody with a bit of sense has got to see. I mean, the guy's been trailed through the mud in the media. But they see what a walloper he is. I can't see. I can't grasp in my head why anybody would follow this moron. He was gone for politics or mainstream politics. Just keep him gone. They got rid of Farage. I was hoping we'd got rid of him too.
I do find it funny that they can you go back just in memories of 10 years ago and tell folk that Alex Salmond's a moron. He's only really in it for himself, and folk reply, "Oh, you're just saying that because you're a no voter." I knew the same folk will come out, "Oh, he's a moron. I can't believe it. Why would they do this?" It's because he only cares about himself. It's about him. But it's funny, obviously, Kirkcaldy's MPs joined him.
Is he really? I didn't get that. Oh God!
That wasn't really a surprise because I did seen some comments on that as well, saying that's shocking. The SNP stood by him and his left. They didn't really. The SNP chucked him for his Semitism comments, and it was only, and then actually told people to vote Green instead of voting for him. He ran as an independent candidate, and then obviously because he won the seat, then hi, you can come back, pal. So that wasn't really a surprise that he was obviously probably thinking in the back of his head, I'm away if this happens.
Well, that's fair, but I mean, I can't see anybody. I can't understand. I I can't picture anybody voting for him. I just can't grasp it.
They're only going in the list votes, obviously, no for actual seats. So it's another option. There'll be plenty of options this year. The list votes we looked at is all different. Can you look at parties? There's the Freedom Alliance. Seen them on the news the other day. They're lockdown shouldn't be a thing. That's them.
Mere morons. I mean, I think we can all agree we do like it, but it's been clearly needed. Surely that we can. I don't know. It's the same with these folk that, oh no, we can't get the vaccine. They're trying to plant a tracker in me. I'm sorry, you've got an iPhone or an Android phone that's on your person 24/7, but you're worried about getting a vaccine's going to track you. I mean, it's madness with these people.
Aye, if one worried about a vaccine and them being able to track me, I'll just check into the shop on Facebook.
I seem to have some crazy thing about, oh, it's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is behind all this. He's brought this plague and he's trying to track me.
It was Bill Gates, to be fair.
It is. It's always Bill Gates. Now, I don't obviously know Bill Gates, but I'm pretty sure he couldn't give a fuck. He just doesn't care what me and you are doing for day to day. And I can't see what use he would have for tracking us. He's going to see me go to my work, go to the Chippy or McDonald's, and then go him. And he's going to see that on a daily basis.
I would have thought that would be more up Elon Musk's street than Bill Gates, to be fair.
Well, but then, Christ, didn't he start him on that? But that's all you see him burning 5G towers doing because, oh no, that's what's caused COVID. Yes, of course it is. Us getting a faster signal on your phone is causing this global pandemic. Yeah, it's moron. It's full morons, and I just can't get my head around these people. They're all idiots.
Well, it'll be interesting when the vote happens. We'll see how many ABLA candidates we have.
I'd be interested to see how many people put other and then write that in, because that would be funny.
Take a picture along with that and just sellotape it to the ballot paper.
It would be amazing actually if they got more ABLA votes than they did ALBA. That would be quite impressive. Oh dear. Oh, well, I've given myself a good idea now. That's fine.
Suppose that wouldn't be deemed as kind of you sellotaped a photo to your ballot paper, that wouldn't be deemed as spoiling it, do you? Might get a funny look when you're putting it in the ballot box, mind you, but
oh dear. It's just it's impressive. Where we go with politics is just. I mean, I used to take a real interest. I really did. I mean, I would sit up and watch the election results and stuff, but it's just so full of nonsense now that I just can't get behind it at all.
It's been hard work here the last wee while.
It's just utter nonsense. There's so much. It's full of wankers. Not even morons. It's just full of wankers. It really is. And the one wanker we thought we'd got rid of has suddenly reappeared, unfortunately. I suppose. I think we've got time for one more story before we wrap up. And
yeah, we did say you were going to have a light-hearted story before I led you into
it's just when we were talking about wankers. So, and it ties into your football story as well. So this walloper, right? What's his name? Mike Ashley. He's a boy. He's got something to do with football as well, I think. But he's owner of Sports Direct. No, is it new? Right, I couldn't tell you which, but he's in the football world. He's got obviously a lot of cash. He owns Sports Direct. I've got no issues with Sports Direct to get a good shirt there for £3. I've no complaints with that. You hate to wait at 3 o'clock in the morning to get the Primark for your jammies. No issues with that. But he's bought. Is it Fraser Group? He's bought.
He had that a couple of years ago. Now he bought that. There.
He's bought the email, right? And they've obviously shut the big store in Edinburgh. I'm trying to look for the name of it, but I can't mind what it is.
Jenner's.
Aye, but it was the sign's obviously Jenner's, but I can't remember what the shop that was in it was called. For the life of me. But anyway, House it probably most likely. So the House of Fraser was in there, but the building's been there for Christ knows when. Famous in Edinburgh. See the big Jenner sign as you're going up towards St Andrew's Square. I think roughly it is. But anyway, so he shut the shop, and he owns obviously Jenner's brand and everything that came with it. So he's decided that all these letters have to be taken off the shop. He's not telling anybody this, so he's employed people to take the big sign outside, take it down, and all you got after it happened, there's all these stories on BBC News. It's a mystery. The sign's gone missing, and it appeared like 2 days later that there is no mystery. He's employed people to take them down. So anyway, it's went through council complaints and planning and listed building status and all that type of fucking red tape council bollocks. And they've said, no, it's a listed building. That is part of Edinburgh's history and blah, blah, blah.
Put it back. Trying to think, is it no just that... I don't think they didn't own that property, did they? They just rent it.
He's cancelled the rent now, essentially. And the owners of the property knew nothing about it. They didn't realise till it started appearing on the news that the part of the building sign had been taken down. So, because he was asked, the council members and everybody that was concerned about it contacted the owners and went, what's happened to the letters? And he's obviously reached out to Mike Ashley and whatever his team is to go, what are you doing? Well, and his thoughts are obviously he owns that brand. Jenner's brand's his. They're obviously going to rent out that space, retail space, to somebody else. And I can see his logic. He doesn't want that brand associated with another shop. However, it's a historic listed building. You can't just rip off. It's not like it's a plastic sign. It's clear, it's big stonework signs. It's been there since 18 Christ knows whenever.
He's another one that fits into that bracket because he feels a bit like Salmond, a bit like your European Super League folk that are a bit egotistical with money. I think I can do what I want.
That's it. I mean,
without any repercussions.
He owns the brand, but he doesn't own the physical building or the thing. He doesn't. It's one of the things that you would need to get planning permission and stuff. It's not like you're in a field at the back of nowhere. Like Edinburgh's a pretty dense populated, historical place. It's all, Christ, 5 councils bad enough, but Edinburgh City Council, the red tape there must be fucking miles long. And for him to just go, well, no, I'll just pay some company to just rip these off and store them on the 6th floor or whatever, which I find weird as well in the story that they told everybody what floor they were on. I'm thinking whether he was expecting somebody to break in and go and steal them, I don't know, but just it seemed very odd that in the news story they were very specific on they are being stored on the 6th floor. Like that was any relevant to anything.
Just see a couple of heads running about with letters.
That's the thing. The things must have weighed a ton as well. So you see pictures of the guys taking them down, and they're in ropes and harnesses and everything with big power equipment.
And they'll have done well because they'll have been paid to take them down. They're probably going to get paid to put them back up.
Go put back. Exactly. Could you imagine though, just finishing that job for the week? That was your last job of the weekend, right, guys? Good job. We're going home. You get a phone call on Monday morning, right? Put it back. Oh, that'd be good. But just, again, it goes right back to the start. We're talking about folks' self-entitlement and idiots. It's just, guy's a walloper. An absolute walloper. Ah, dear. But that kind of wraps up all the stories I wanted to talk about. Is there anything you wanted to add? Any other?
I think that'll do us for this week, I think. It's been plenty there to fix now.
I think for a first attempt at the podcast, that's been a good episode 1, would you not say?
That's been alright, aye.
I didn't
Most could have been more attractive, like, but...
Well, you need to hear a word with yourself about that. I didn't actually take a physical count, but I didn't think I swore that much. There was a lot of talk about death penalty, I'll give you that. But
no, there's a lot of talk about cutting balls off. That was a bit...
well, sometimes that's just what you need to do. But no, I think to wrap up our first episode, I think that's been summarised. I think we could summarise it to say that went pretty well. Of all the stories we talked about, what would get your vote as Moron of the Week?
Well, certainly a lot of candidates. I think folk like Mike Ashley and Alex Salmond just already have a Moron title anyway, so I think we'll leave them out. I think probably There's probably somebody at M&S right now that's they're probably just sitting contemplating the last week or two.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that because I agree. I think Moron of the Week definitely have to go to the M&S legal and social media teams. I reckon that they really have just ballsed it up completely. Well, that's for a first episode. That's quite good. We're both in agreement of Moron of the Week. I've got a sense that going forward that might not be the case. I think we might have different opinions going forward, but that's worked out pretty well for episode number 1. We hope to be releasing these every Friday. We are still making trial and error of how we record it and what we're going to do. But please subscribe through whatever podcast thing you use. We should be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever else you listen to. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is that you might want to do. Leave any. We've got a Facebook page as well, so leave any feedback, any comments. If you've got any stories that you think we should discuss or consider, then add that in as well. But other than that, then listen again for us next Friday, hopefully. Do you have anything else to add, Andrew?
No, been an alright start, I think. Hopefully it continues.
Well, let's hope so. The last time we went for a couple of months and then we just lost track of it. So we're going to do our best to keep up weekly episodes every Friday. So we hope you enjoy and tune in again next Friday. See you later.
Bye.